All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So a real interesting day on this Friday. You know, usually I expect Fridays to be red days. I don't know why. I just feel like no one likes working on a Friday. No one likes trading on a Friday. It just ends up being red. So interesting to see them being green, them being PHUN, DWAC, and Rumble, which we're going to cover on today's, right? But I am way less focused on the actual green percentage itself, and man, this is actually all about the moving averages. All right, this one's about the 8 and the 200. DWAC is all about the 8, and then really Rumble itself has something interesting going on with the 100 and the 200 as well. So the moving averages, I'm telling you, I love these things because they really help guide it. All right, and again, these are computer generated lines. I have no influence on them. I'm just looking at them and letting me, see a story from them, for lack of words, right? But interesting day. However, it is far more important to see what Monday confirms. All right, so that's going to be the echo across these three. But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, I'm telling you, anything you can do helps so much, especially if you can share the video. It's just a click away, and some of you have way bigger social followers than I do, and it helps so much. All right, so let's get into PHUN. All right, and again, I don't know if I want to start up here or down here, because again, I always say volume is king, right? But let's start up here for a couple things that are just jumping out. The very first thing is this candle itself. Look, I always say this. I am not a pattern trader, all right? I never talk about wedges. I never talk about head and shoulders. I never talk about this and that, right? I also, there are people that the pattern of the candle will dictate it enough for them, and that's what they move, right? There's so many different pattern traders out there. One thing that I take from that trading style is to respect the doji, all right? I did it on this one right here. I'm doing it again on this one right here, all right? So what's a doji? A doji, essentially, look in the box over there, okay? This thing opens today at 33 cents, runs as high as 37, gets as low as 30, ends up just going a penny below where it started, right? Like the amount, and in a full trading day, it couldn't decide if it wants to go up, if it wants to go down. It basically says, you know what, let's just end where we started and let's see what happens the next day being Monday here, right? So this screams uncertainty, okay? The second half of it is the fact that it's playing with, again, I say this loosely, right? Because they are all important in their own little way, but the 200 and the 8 are probably the 2 most important lines of the 5. The 200's the hardest and the last one for a reason. Nothing starts till you get over the 8, right? So like in their own ways, these are very important individually, and lo and behold, we've got a real tight cluster of the 2, right? And what happened today, we did not get over the 200. We still stayed over the 8. We've basically been doji the last 4 days, right? And look, some people will probably say this one's not really a doji. Some might say this one's not really a doji. To me, all 4 of these, I'm using it loosely, right, are doji enough for me. Because again, what are we trying to do? You know it if you watch my videos. If you've never heard it, you're going to hear it a bunch of times across every stock, all right? If you can get over all 5, if you can break all 5, you fly. All right. The opposite is you lose all 5 and you die, and we don't want to talk about that, right? But this thing's been trying to break all 5. This is the 5th one. It just can't do it. All right. Again, I'll get to DWAC shortly, but you can see DWAC breaks all 5. Let me zoom out so you can see the 5th one down there, right? It breaks them and flies, right? So PHUN's made a good move. Don't get me wrong. When the spacing between the lines is good things can still happen, right? But amazing things will happen if we can get over it, all right? I keep zooming out, I keep zooming out, I keep zooming out to just emphasize one more time. Look, the 200 is the hardest line. It is the last one of the 5, all right? You can easily see we have been well below that purple line for almost 2 full years, all right? So you just really can't assume we're gonna break it. Now, I always say volume is king, and I think that's a decent transition down here. Look, 190 million shares on a single day is tremendous. Tremendous. Just look at DWAC. Look at DWAC. This thing was only 5 million. Look at Rumble. This thing was only 17. And I'm using the word only so loosely. Both of those are still really high numbers. Don't get me wrong, but fun. An amazing 190 million shares is actually relatively pathetic, which is funny to say, right? But it is. And what it's really doing is making me realize that, look, volume is dropping pretty hard. We went from 1.6 billion shares down to essentially 1.9 on this thing, right? Like, we have dropped some significant volume. We were holding about 50% of it till here. We then started losing more and more. And look, we're down here. You can arguably say we've lost 90% of this big volume, right? So like, there is an underlying volumes decreasing way too dramatically for my blood, okay? That's bothersome, all right? It really actually is. End of the day though, listen, this is really 50-50. I am not here pretending to actually know what's going to happen on Monday, because this actually is 50-50. And I always say, look, I move my money on other things. The 1 and the 2 is what I've named them, right? But dude, even on the 1 and the 2, it's so 50-50, because this thing is on the border of breaking the 200 and flying. This thing is also on the border of losing the 8 and falling pretty low, right? You see my 25 line here. It can actually drop as low as 19, right? Maybe let's say that the 20 opens right here on Monday around 20. The 20 moving average is orange. Again, I don't know the math behind these lines, right? Like, I'm not pretending to be some like math guru or anything, right? But I'm seeing a slope of the line. It pretty much looks like that. That's Monday right there. It makes me feel like it's going to hit 20. This thing can easily drop to 25 or 20 on Monday. Easily, all right? And that's about a 50%, no, sorry, 30% loss. You're talking about losing about 10 cents on a 30-something cent stock, right? Or, okay, we're going to start talking about 36 cents and then 43 cents, all right? Those are the immediate, I'm gonna draw that 36 line. I think that's important to draw. I believe I already have one. Just in case, let's go ahead and make one for the video. I want an alert at 37 cents. Listen, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but I would like to know if we can get over this line. From there, again, look, I got 2 lines very close to each other. There's 41 and 43, right? The real money line is 43 cents. If we can break 43 cents, red should be green up to 60. And that's a beautiful 50% move right there, roughly speaking, right? You're adding 20 cents right there. So I'll be watching it at 37 for sure. Obviously, I just set an alert. I will be salivating at the mouth if it looks like 43 is a distant pass and we're going to go into 44 and onward. You know what I mean? Watch the volume. You got to watch the volume, all right? So one thing I like to do, this was a question from back in the day, and it's like actually driven a lot of what I do. So I need at least 400 million shares. Look, you can see right here I'm clicking. That says 370 something, right? So let's just say 400, all right? There are about 8 hours in the trading day, 6:30 to 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 6 and change, right? So let's call it in a 7-hour day. I need 60 million shares that first hour, all right? That's what this is telling me, 57 million, right? But if come Monday morning we're pushing 60 million shares, it's going to be a good volume day that hopefully will help us drive up and go towards that 36, 43 and beyond. Listen, the death line is going to be 29, 28 cents. Looks like it's basically 29. I would be very, very, very scared if this slips below 29, because from there it'll be a fast drop to 25, and honestly 25 might not hold, and I think we're going to come to like that 21, 20 range more than likely. All right, so for me, I would rather see what Monday tells me, and maybe even just trade on Tuesday if it looks like it wants more, or avoid it on Tuesday and see where it comes in terms of down here. Look, I think the lowest this thing should go is about 17 cents. All right, if 25 and 20 fails, 17 is going to be the next line down. All right, so that's basically my thought. Let Monday unfold, and then hopefully that carries itself to Tuesday. All right, so real quick, I'll just kind of end it with a summary of some of the news things that I was talking about on the last video. So there is another caucus coming up. It's in Nevada. It's in 2 weeks, okay? To me, I think that that's going to mean that there's going to be about a week of lull, all right? Ooh, excuse me, a little hiccup there. I'm sure there's going to be some news here and there, right? But I think the week of, and especially the days leading to Nevada, are going to be a lot more exciting than the complete 2 weeks before, right? Like, I wish I pulled the... Give me a second. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to pull up the calendar real quick. Okay, great. I am back. So this is a screenshot of the February and March upcomings, okay? You can see Nevada's on the 8th, all right? We still have a little bit of time before the 8th, all right? There's gonna be, like I said, a little bit of a lull. I think as we start coming into the 5th, I think this 6th right here is this Democratic one. I obviously didn't take the screenshot of it. I didn't think it mattered much. But hey, maybe this kind of leads into it. Maybe someone says something about Trump, maybe, right? But I think the lead into this is going to be big. South Carolina, this is the one that I think a lot of us are starting to get excited for, all right? This is where Nikki Haley was, I think, senator maybe I saw. I don't really know. I really don't care, right? But dude, imagine Nikki losing in her home state or her home backyard, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? That to me will be big. And again, I talked about the buy the rumor, sell the news. We are all... The rumor is Trump's going to win. It's going to make it go really up, right? Like we actually saw that didn't happen on the second one. So there is some buy the rumor, sell the news going on. And that's why I'm kind of echoing I think the days leading to the 8th will be good. I'm not 100% that after the 8th, the 9th is going to be good. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. Again, we've got a lot to go between where we're at and today, so the technicals might change a lot of that thought, right? But we at least have something big on the 8th. We've got another big one on the 24th, and then obviously you still see some in March as well, right? So, and then again, we have the electoral system, right? So Nevada's about half the size of South Carolina. Looks like Missouri's another big one in terms of the like delegate votes, right? I don't pretend to like know that stuff, but yeah. The other thing I do want to echo before I end this here, any day, right? Theoretically, any day, Trump can drop his VP nomination. Someone mentioned that that was a highly anticipated moment, and I agree with that. I do think once the VP thing like finalizes, I think that'll be good. I also kind of have to believe there's going to be a little bit of a hype before that as well. There'll be like 3 or 4 names that are starting to rumble. The market might like some, might not like some. We'll see how they react to that. The names of 5 might come down to 4, etc., right? So, yeah, I realize that this is 14 minutes. I think that's a good view of the technicals of the news. Did I look at the weekly? Let's look at the weekly. And again, I remember talking about this 50 moving average. We still haven't done much to it. We've wicked it twice. But at the end of the day, you know wicks don't matter that much to me, all right? So fun. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree, all right? I appreciate you so much. Let's get into DWAC. And all right, really quickly, if you can please subscribe and please share, check out the Discord if you haven't. Look, this is not a brag at all right? But if you go back, you can go see it. There was decent confidence. I called it 50-50, and I'm not going to, like, I for sure meant it when it was 50-50, and I'll go back to that. But My theory was, and I use the word theory because nothing's guaranteed, there's no crystal ball, I can't tell the future, right? But my theory was we had an RSI that was a 98. Look at the box over there in the middle. RSI 14 says 98, all right? The day before on this one was another 98, right? So 2 days of 98. We go really high up away from the 8 moving average, all right? We just, again, RSI needs to cool down. My theory was we were going to be coming down to the 8 moving average. I think I said 38.40, right? Again, I'm not here to brag about calling numbers, right? But I love these moving averages, all right? When I use my other charts, the 1 and the 2, I have a slightly different version. I have a couple extras, actually, like a couple variants. End of the day, moving averages are magic, all right? I can't stress that enough because it helps you anticipate. And look, again, we were up here when I thought to myself, and look, again, I always say, I don't know the math behind these lines. I just kind of take the slope and I just guess and go, right? So I can't stress enough the magic of these moving averages, all right? So where are we now? Oh, man, this is a really, really interesting point, okay? Because this is not quite a full doji. This is a doji right here, right? This is one that people thought was going to fly, people thought was going to die. End of the day, it basically closes right where it opens, right? Like this is as textbook as a doji can get. This one isn't necessarily, but man, I am not sure what to think about the 8 moving average right now. Yes, we've used it to hold, like we held it. This could have easily slipped. This could have easily come down to 29.99. For sure glad it didn't, right? But I'm not quite convinced we're using this and we're going up. And look, this is barely moving at all after hours, right? So we can't even use after hours as a guess, but I really, really, really can't tell if this thing is just holding or if it's being a strong bounce point that's going to propel this up, all right? This is theoretically a decent RSI. 69 is a little on the higher side, right? But I always say 80 is kind of where it's too high. So we still have some room to go from 69 to 80, right? I think the issue with me is like, I don't know if we're going to break this 44.50. Where did 44.50 come from? Oh, there's a lot of, oh, and it's the top of this one. This is a strong line right here, all right? I say it's a strong line because, again, this is the first big candle from IPO. It's basically the top of it, all right? It's actually at 45.50. My line's at 44.50. You know, again, I can't stress enough. I'm not here for perfection. It essentially hit something right here. When was this? Around December 21. And then there was a good little horizontal moment from April to June of 22. This is a strong line. This is a strong line. You can't, listen, all right? I believe in the Trump hype helping these still go. I actually do, all right? That said, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to 29 or, man, maybe even as low as like, let me take that to there, maybe as low as 26-ish, all right? But if this thing can get over 44.50, let's even call it 45.50 because we just saw that was the actual line on that big IPO candle. If we break 45.50, that's our money line. That's going to make me believe we're heading to 57, okay? After 57, we'll start talking about a little higher. You can clearly see I got a 73. Maybe something will happen right there. But again, let's not talk about anything above 57 because really, let's not talk about anything until 45, 46 comes, all right? That's going to be a hard wall. Again, going from 30-something to 40-something is a really big move. You're adding almost a dime on a stock that, a dime. You're adding $10 on a stock that only has 3 sets of $10 basically, right? So don't underestimate that move, but don't set your eyes a little higher than it should because, man, I'm telling you, if you got a target of 75 or higher, and we make a beautiful move all the way to 60, oh my gosh, that's more than 50% from where we're at. You might accidentally like throw that away because we're not enough, you know what I mean? So, oh, my kitty's at the door. Hold on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on in. Hi, come on. Come in. In or out? I'm making videos. Don't take this long. In or out? Oh, you're out, girl. I apologize. She did not make the move. So yeah, again, I think that was a pretty good summary of the daily. Oh man, this is a okay. This is oh wow, this is a hard weekly to give thoughts to. We are obviously over all the moving averages on the weekly. That's tremendous. And again, we're over all the moving averages on the daily as well. There is no 200. As I click in here and you look in the box over there, this has not been alive for 200 weeks just yet, okay? So we're over 4, but there's only 4, okay? That's tremendous week over week volume. That's tremendous of a confirmation candle, all right? I think this is what I'm going to say. I think we have a shot to come as low as 33.90. All right. I think there's a real good shot that this comes as low as 33.90. Where's 33.90? I'm just curious. That's not that low. Because again, I was talking about 28, 29, right? So I can see us coming to that and hopefully using that to recover. Okay. Again, 29.90, I talked about 28 being that death line. Man, this weekly echoes, you do not want to lose 29, all right? Hopefully that 34 can hold. This thing might want to take another shot to that 44.50. The issue I'm seeing here is a 91 RSI on the weekly. That's high. Again, I was concerned about a high RSI in the daily. I'm still going to be concerned about a high RSI in the 90s, right? So that's kind of what's making me think we might come down a little bit, maybe close down here on Friday, let this thing cool down a little bit. That'll take us into the week of the caucus and kind of go from there, all right? Let me show, oh, did I get rid of the screenshot? No, perfect. The next caucus is the 8th. Okay, again, my theory kind of was there's going to be a little bit of a lull the week before. The week going into this is when it should pick up, all right? So that kind of goes with the, I think it might calm down and then take off again, okay? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. I do want to look at Rumble real quick because Rumble's got some interesting things going on here, all right? Look, a channel is anything between 2 horizontal lines, all right? And my cat's at the door, and I can't tell. What are you trying to do? Are you going to come in or no? Are you coming in? Come in. Come in. Bring your sister, too. Come in. Good. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, they run this house. I apologize. Okay, so look, what I'm going to do is draw a horizontal line basically on the 100. That's not perfect, but whatever. I'm going to draw one on the 200, okay? That's the blue line and the purple line right here and right here. That's a red, 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 whole mess of nothing. Green, 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 red, 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 green. Like this is a beautiful, beautiful fast channel. Let's even zoom out a little bit. Red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green. Like that's all this channel knows, okay? There is a lot that can make this thing go up and down. There's not a lot stopping it from going up and down either, okay? This is still actually a decent RSI. This is a little bit better than with DWAC, right? Oh, my kitty in the background. And it's funny because, again, I talked about PHUN having a really bad decrease in volume. I hate that, right? Like that's a bad downward slope. DWAC, I don't really remember what I said about it. Oh, a little more like Rumble, because what I was going to say about Rumble is it's actually still relatively flat, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, I want an increase, right? But I'm still okay with the fact that it wasn't that far off from this Monday volume, right? It was a little bit lower, but hey, whatever. And that actually was relatively normal with this Wednesday one as well, right? So volume's holding, beautiful channel, interesting MACD and RSI, all right? So I think this actually might want to still take a shot at this wow, I can't say that number, 695 line, all right, roughly 7, right? I think if this was going to come down, it's going to come down to 575. After 575, we'll see 550, okay? We do not want this to go under $5. All right, that's a very, very easy thing to say. I can also just see us ping-ponging up and down from this channel because, again, fast up, fast down, fast up, fast down. That just actually really wouldn't surprise me. The last thing that actually might happen is, so look, I mean, we might like, I don't think so. I like what I'm saying. We're either gonna break this and fly, lose this and die, or just ping pong up and down. I think that's a really realistic approach. And again, immediately I do feel like it's gonna want to come up. 575, 550 are the numbers down. What's the weekly look like here? Again, this is a decent weekly. What are you right here? 640. Where's 640 at? Is that you right there? No. Is that you right there at 650? No, I don't need to draw anything new. I like that. All right, cool. 26 minutes. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, man, I appreciate you all so, so much.